Following my last video, which focused on one particular degenerate festering in the annals of French forum culture, the pressure was on me to select a new target lurking within the cesspit of the internet, so the Jormy 49ers could gorge themselves on their delectable cringe whilst Wojaks flash across the screen. And while on my quest, I've come across one of the most insidious cringelords imaginable, whose character arc has been so ridiculous that if it were to appear in a Marvel movie, critics would scoff at its unbelievability. I mean, it's not every day that someone's Wikitubia page comes packaged with a content warning alerting you of death threats, fake suicide, disrespect towards someone's death, and much more. Just this view alone tells you the subject of today's video has gotten into some unique and extremely specific controversies. So sit back and relax as I, Jormy49, serve as your ferryman, taking you across the veritable river Styx of internet cringe, trolling, and degeneracy beyond what anyone could have possibly imagined from an innocuous TikTok provocateur named Meowba. Before we get into the meat of this video, I'd like to make it clear that, just like in my first video, the person I'll be describing has allegedly engaged in some harmful and possibly criminal acts. I don't endorse or support any of these actions. I simply want to tell this frankly ridiculous story and shed light on the deep annals of the internet's ludicrousness. But to those who were affected negatively by the actions described, my thoughts are with you. And though I may poke fun at some of the more absurd parts of the story, I'm not attempting to make light of any of them. Also, I just wanted to say, thank you, Jormy 49ers. In the wake of my last video, which was the first one I put this much effort into, I think I received about 45 new subscribers and like 60 plus likes, plus a lot of supportive comments. It may sound small, but hey, when you're at my level, you gotta be grateful for everything you get, and that I am. So, thank you all. With that out of the way, let's get going. Meowba is a name known by many on the internet. I won't pretend otherwise. Unlike others who may exaggerate the obscurity of the topics they cover, I, Jormy49, am well known as the epitome of integrity. So I will be upfront. Meowba's TikTok account at one point reached the astounding milestone of 1.4 million followers. Furthermore, she has been mentioned and even directly covered by popular commentary channels like Turkey Tom and August the Duck, and has even played Minecraft on livestream with the former. It would be unreasonable to assume that her name is completely unknown to even the mainstream. Heck, even this random animation mocking Meowba from a year ago, titled Meow Mid, which I have to admit is pretty solid, got almost 2 million views, by far becoming the creator's most popular video on a channel with 45,000 subscribers. With metrics like these, it's generally safe to say that the topic of the video was at least somewhat trending, reaching far more people than it would have otherwise. However, what I will say is likely unknown is the depths to which her depravity has sunk behind closed doors, as well as, to be honest, her humble beginnings. Because for every goofy rage bait trolling attempt that leads to an addition to her controversies page on Wikitubia, like when she referred to those offended by her use of the R slur as the disabled phantom, there is something genuinely disturbing she got up to in the depths of her Discord server. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. For now, let's look at where Meowba made her start. At the very beginning of her online presence, Meowba was not Meowba. I find that so often we come to associate a person with a username so strongly that we cannot imagine them creating content under another name or another brand. Perhaps this is the reason it is so trippy to see the online activities of the humble uwu girl animator known as Peachy Cub. Now you see what I did with the title of this chapter. That's right, Meowba got her start as a wholesome animator named Peachy Cub who touches on important topics like death and grieving through the canvas of amateur animations about furries. I know you won't believe me, but come on, you guys are gonna love this.
Here's forever, here's forever, even if our face don't stay together. Here's forever, here's forever, baby's frosting turns into weather. Don't reach your mind.
I wonder if I'm gonna have to age restrict my video, because that furry guy straight up just died. That was really intense. I won't rag on it too much though, because at the end of the day, the PG Cub account represents a more innocent era within the overarching Meowba story. They even made multiple connections within their niche little animation community, with some of their most viewed videos, which accumulated view counts approaching 500,000, being the results of collaborations. Given Meowba's later antics, I almost had a heart attack when I saw that PG Cub's most viewed video was titled Happier MAP, which, if you're up to date on internet acronyms, can have wildly varying definitions. But it turns out that it is a multiple animator project between Meow and other animators in the community. And it was actually received quite well. The comments display a very supportive community that Meow had built through this channel and their inroads with others. Another video of note is titled Big Collab, Ooh, It's My Birthday. And as the title indicates, it is once again the result of a collaboration between Peachy Cub and other members of her animation community. One thing that is particularly notable when snooping in the comments section is that Peachy Cub claims this post was in commemoration of her 15th birthday. This is very interesting as, if true, it would give us some indication of how old Meowba is today, and how old she was when the controversy surrounding her was at its peak. Another, and admittedly darker train of thought this comment brought to mind for me was that this whole account was ironic or satirical in some way, and that this self-reported age was a lie. After all, it does seem rather stereotypical in its internet cute speak and little emoticons, and the most natural conclusion when considering the actions of a soon-to-be troll is that they were always trolling. However, I can't find any evidence of this, so I'll leave the conclusions up to you all. Was Meowba always being disingenuous to gain a following, or did they truly change that much as they aged? But I digress. Another thing eagle-eyed Jormy49ers out there might have noticed from this screenshot of the comments section is that there are actually various comments here referencing what Meowba has gotten up to in later years. For example, one user commented, "It's sad to see a beautiful animator turn into what now, a fatherless PNG tuber?" Another comment reads, "What a great video. I hope she didn't do something worse than I can imagine." And poor grammar aside, we'll come to know what they're talking about. Overall, the Peachy Cub account in general has little bearing on Meowba's later controversies, which are the primary focus of this video. I just thought I would be remiss if I didn't mention everything I was able to dig up on Meowba's past, especially something so starkly different from what she would do later in her online career. It almost brings a tear to my eye. As one final note, I did try to research accounts on other social media sites, also called Peachy Cub or related to this account, to build up, you know, the lore. But other than her Instagram, which predictably hasn't posted since 2020, I only came across this poor Instagram and TikTok user with the same username, who obviously has dealt with people associating them with Meowba in the past, as evidenced by this post they made clarifying that they are not, in fact, Meowba. That doesn't seem like something you just post out of the blue. But if Meowba started as this seemingly wholesome, if not cringy, YouTube animator with a supportive and, let's face it, pretty substantial following, especially for the quality of the content, what happened? Honestly, it's impossible for us to say for sure. I won't sit here and pretend I'm capable of somehow interpreting the inner workings of an online content creator's mind. However, what we can do is look at the next confirmed instance of Meowba popping up on the internet, and that would of course be the infamous Meowba TikTok. The Meowba TikTok account began uploading in March of 2022, and when it first started, you wouldn't be remiss for assuming that the Peachy Cub of old was still alive and with us. This is because the Meowba name was actually first attributed to an innocent-seeming TikTok account which drew fan art for content creators like Dream and Jellybean in order to draw people in. Get it? Draw them in? Just came up with that one. There's no need to applaud. However, before long, Meowba would make her debut as a PNG tuber. If you're not aware, a PNG tuber is a content creator who essentially uses a 2D image with various different expressions in order to represent themselves as they speak to their audience. Think 2D VTubers, but instead of a live feed displaying each emotion as it appears on their face, they simply have a predetermined set of images which they can then choose from in order to display the most accurate emotion for that part of the video. It's a bit tough to explain, but if you've been watching the clips I've been playing in the background, you'll get the gist. Also, I never thought I'd have to behold such an unholy message from Google Docs, but here we are, I guess. This is where my life has taken me. During the period in which Meowba first began to upload, PNG tubers were experiencing a meteoric rise in popularity, helmed by none other than Jellybean. If you don't know who Jellybean is, imagine a PNG tuber who, in real life, can most accurately be compared to an overzealous band kid or drama club member with no volume control on their voice. Their content was largely inoffensive and child-friendly, and this, coupled with their high energy and them consistently churning out YouTube shorts like a well-oiled machine, led to them amassing a gargantuan following, who I assume primarily consisted of children. Now, what you have to understand about the cultural zeitgeist of the internet during this period is that Jellybean had drawn the ire of what we'll call the YouTube commentary community, managing to become the current popular-to-hate channel. This led to Jellybean's content being covered an inordinate amount of times by people who had no other criticism towards them than just that they were cringy, that they were annoying. Honestly, it's still baffling to me the amount of backlash the Bean faced for something that 99% of channels on YouTube Shorts and TikTok are guilty of, despite no wrongdoing on their part. That's besides the point though. If you want to learn more on the topic, I suggest you watch Turkey Tom's video on it, not that he needs my advertisement. Suffice it to say, Jellybean, and as a consequence, the PNG tuber community as a whole, was in the middle of a YouTube drama firestorm, and they were extremely popular to hate due to their newfound status as the poster children of internet cringe. And this is what set the stage for Meowba's entrance. The combination of explosive visibility on the genre, hate watchers lined up and ready to go, and the PNG tuber audience placed into a defensive state by their precious parasocial Pookie Bears being insulted primed the internet for what I would call, at least from a solely numerical standpoint, one of the most successful trolling campaigns in history. The trolling began when Meowba started to make PNG tuber content on TikTok, but her unhinged ramblings could be found on pretty much any social media site. She took the drama to Twitter, YouTube, and of course, it festered in her unhinged Discord server. To make this section a bit more organized, I'll be going through Meowba's Wikitubia page and discussing her biggest controversies one by one. And for each, I'll supplement it with as much evidence as I'm comfortable showing. So, my dear Jormy 49ers, the belly of the beast awaits. Let's not dilly-dally any longer. The first controversy listed on Meowba's page is one that will really set the tone for the type of shenanigans we have come to expect from her. During a TikTok in which she was responding to questions asked in her Discord server, which was honestly her go-to bread and butter content, Meowba delivered the dreaded R slur.
Meow, can you say this kawaii word?
In a direct response to the backlash she faced for the use of this kind of language, which many deem offensive, Meowba made another video in which she apologizes to what she labels the disabled fandom. While this would already be enough to create even more of an uproar, as being disabled is not something you can just choose to be a fan of, and referring to the people offended by her use of a slur in this way was seen as trivializing what some of them go through, it gets worse. During this response video, Meowba can be heard audibly chewing, clearly demonstrating to anyone that somehow hadn't noticed it yet that she was not being genuine and clearly felt no remorse. Her only goal was to make more and more people mad at her, thus satiating the desires of her fans and drawing in more and more hate watchers. Meowba's channel as a whole is a very blatant mockery of weeaboo culture, with Meow herself frequently mixing poorly pronounced Japanese words in with her speech.
Super sugoi! Meow feels very watashi meow to be back,
It's suspected that the poor pronunciation, as well as the blatant incorrect use of some words, is the result of her using Google Translate. This is of course seen as racially insensitive, although the debate is whether or not it's intentional or just done out of sheer ignorance. However, it's not even worth speculating about whether or not this was intentional, because this next bit essentially confirms Miaba's willingness to be racially insensitive. In Miaba's Discord server, Miao randomly questioned why there were so many Indonesian members. In the following messages, Miaba then refers to Indonesia as a quote-unquote dog country, which is obviously unbelievably insensitive. So yeah, I think there's no real question that any other perceived racially charged slights are probably intentional. This next batch of controversies all resulted from the exact same TikTok. While Miaba was, yet again, responding to Discord questions, she, for some ungodly reason, decided to respond to a question asking for her opinion on Russia's invasion of Ukraine. She responded with, well, I'll just play it for you.
On a scale of 2 to 9, what is your opinion on the Russian invasion on Ukraine? Meow personally believes Russia had a reason for it. Russia did what it needed to do.
In the exact same video, she then follows this up, going for the double trouble alley-oop by stating that she can, in fact, beat up a certain religious figure very important to those of the Muslim faith. Guys, I'm trying to dodge around saying anything offensive. Give me a break. Just watch.
Could you beat Allah in a fight? Of course Meow could! Meow blah.
Overall, this was obviously just more rage bait on Miaba's part, but I don't think we should discount the sheer vitriol her haters now had, as they quite literally had the power of God and anime on their side. She had insulted both. I mean, just listen to this comment I found in response to this specific drama. When responding to the fact that Miaba allegedly, quote, believes she can beat the hell out of Allah, YouTube user Mr. Technical Isolate 9188 said, "Bitch, you're a good for nothing. Allah literally has the ability to give you cancer or send you to hell in a matter of seconds. Don't think that you and your uwu owo kawaii desu magical girl powers are gonna do it. Gonna a single about him?" Let's just say, Miaba's not coming back from that one. In April of 2022, Miaba tweeted out that she had avoided getting vaccinated despite everyone around her doing so, yet she had still not contracted COVID. This was followed up by the wildly controversial and conspiratorial statement, quote, "the gov lying to you," followed by a cutesy emoticon. I think it's obvious why this one was controversial. To be honest, I'm surprised it never got taken off of Twitter. As such, I won't be going too in-depth on it, but just for posterity, Miaba tweeted 3 days after this that she had contracted COVID. Go figure. This one was kind of a nothing burger, but hey, it's on the list, so we're taking it. On Twitter, Miaba posted drawn porn of sadly deceased Minecraft YouTuber Technoblade and Adolf Hitler. Please do not make me say anything else about this. In addition to very clearly using the F slur in her Discord server, Miaba responded to a question asking whether or not she was homosexual by saying this.
Meow's a fact. Meow likes all genders.
It's widely believed that she was about to say the F slur, or is at least trying to get us to think that she was. In addition to various other presumed dislikes towards the LGBTQ+ community, she also responded in a very insensitive way to Jellybean when they came out as pansexual in September of 2022. In response to this tweet from Jellybean, Miaba said, quote, "Bi and pan are the same thing. Pan is made up for LBTQDRS+ people to feel special," end quote. It's pretty safe to say Miaba was hell-bent on making an enemy of the LGBTQ+ community with this one. As you may have already guessed, the fact that Miaba went in so hard on the rage bait in a time period during which it was already popular to hate on PNG YouTubers, she faced an extreme amount of backlash. Beyond being called evil by Turkey Tom, even after playing Minecraft with him, and being covered by literally every commentary channel imaginable and called a horrible person, she was also blocked by Jellybean on Twitter after being asked who Miaba was and promptly regretted it. This in turn prompted Miaba to call them Jelly Mid. Truly, eloquence at its finest. In the midst of the mountainous vitriol Miaba was currently facing on all corners of the internet, including her Discord server being constantly raided by haters, a response was warranted. This resulted in what can only be described as the ultimate schizo-post YouTuber apology hybrid. Of course, no responsibility was taken. Instead, Miaba bizarrely attempts to pin her actions on so many mental illnesses that I can't keep track of all of them long enough to write them into the script. Then, the video ends with the implication that Miaba was going to commit suicide by jumping off of a balcony. Although some people were initially concerned, she was posting again within a month. It's thought that she recruited someone inside of her Discord server to record the footage of them going to a high place for her so that she could imply that she committed suicide. I should take this time to say that I personally don't have too many problems with what Miaba had done up until this point. Was it callous and cringy? Yes, without a question. Was it funny? That's more subjective. Was it offensive? Certainly. But was it grounds for the visceral reaction people were having to her? I'd say no, because to me personally at least, it's clear that this person was just putting on an act for attention, and you'd be very hard pressed to argue that they actually believed anything they were saying. However, the actions that were uncovered next are not acceptable, no matter how genuine one's intentions are or how ironic they're being. I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I'm not going to be going very in-depth about what was found in Miaba's Discord server. I can't show you most of it without blurring, and even if I could, I wouldn't want to. It's frankly very gross. Before I even say anything, I'd like to say I've included links in the description for anyone who has ever struggled with self-harm. And if you don't want to hear any disturbing things, skip to chapter 3. Timestamps are in the description as always. But essentially, it was discovered that Miaba would reward people within their server with a special role if they would cut her name into their skin with a blade. If that wasn't already horrible enough, 3 of the people who engaged in this behavior and were given a special role were minors. When confronted about this by another member of the server, Miaba responded, quote, "Because self-harm is lulz," and of course they followed this up with the N-bomb. Because, come on. If that wasn't enough, there are rumors that CP was circulating around Miaba's server. But that's enough of that. Honestly, the fact that I dedicated such a short portion of the video to Mia's most heinous misdeeds might make some people upset. I wouldn't blame those people. But for the sake of all our mental states and for the watchability of this video, I think it's fine to leave it at that. I think that description was far and away enough for all of us to understand the kind of reprehensible behavior Miaba engages in behind the scenes and how, even if she's changed or doesn't endorse this kind of behavior anymore, we should still be extremely wary about how we let this person interact with minors on the internet. Because if you look at where Miaba's at now, she basically hasn't suffered any consequences from any of this. Sure, her original TikTok and her original Discord server are nowhere to be found, but her name hasn't been wiped off the internet like you might expect. So let's get into where Miaba is now. If you do even the slightest bit of research on where Miaba's been, you wouldn't be remiss in thinking that her content has changed entirely. This is because there seems to be a group of people on YouTube who refer to themselves as gacha animators, who think that Miaba either has already attempted to or will attempt to join their community in the future. as seen in this riveting animation by user Mika Ro, which, mind you, has accumulated more than 1.4 million views. They don't exactly think the current members of the gacha animation community would accept Miaba with open arms. And can I just say, even with the possibility that Miaba is a totally reprehensible and irredeemable human being, it's very hard for me to read the comments of these people vilifying her without laughing. If she actually joined the gacha community, I will literally find 6,872 reasons why her existence is the reason how pollution started. As a proud gacha TikToker of the gacha community, we don't claim her as a gacha TikTokers or a gacha tubers. We will pass her to the PNG tubers community instead. Mika, you don't really need to make Miaba so detailed and pretty. She don't deserve it. She better not continue doing it. Edit. Y'all find this comment way too quick. Edit. I don't know if Miaba's a boy or not. As a member of the gacha community, I can safely and proudly say that literally no one wants Meow Bish here, and if she does join, I hope the toxic AF kids and the gacha ranters bully her out of the community. Smiley face. Even when I know these people are justified, the cringe is real. Also, is it a prerequisite when you join the gacha community that you have bad grammar, or does it happen over time? I'm curious. But that only covers where these people think Miaba currently is. But where is Miaba? Well, I'm sure you'll all be super relieved to know that Miaba has a new TikTok which has accumulated over 165,000 followers, and a new Discord with thousands of members. After everything we've seen, how is it possible there's another Miaba Discord? Well, okay. Maybe she's changed? What kind of content is she posting? If you look at only the most recent TikTok posts she's made, you might understandably have felt a glimmer of hope. You'll be greeted by a frankly pretty well done animation over music, with no screechy childlike voice or racial slurs to be found. That ends pretty quickly though. If you scroll just one video down, you'll find Reading Meow's Discord Questions Part 18. Posted October 21st, 2023. And if you keep watching, you'll find that Miaba's right up to her old antics again. For example, when one of her Discord members prompts her to, quote, pray for Pastaline and, quote, wear a hijab in the next video, she complies, pasting a hijab onto her avatar and reminding her audience to, well, I'll let her say it. In another set of her videos, Miaba presents a version of her avatar that is undergoing what I can only describe as digital blackface. She describes herself as a proud black trans male and made an entire TikTok using an AI voice that, well, let's just say it seems to contrast heavily with her normal voice.
Reading Meow's Discord Questions, Part 16.
Her trolling at this point is much tamer than it once was, but it's still pretty insane, and I can't believe she's still keeping this up after everything that's happened. In terms of her Discord server, well, I actually joined it just to see what was going on in there. Yes, I know, sacrificing my mental health and well-being for a video that probably won't crack 1,000 views, but such is life. What I was immediately greeted by was not Miaba. Apparently, there's been a bit of a change in how the Miaba Discord is run. Miaba herself has taken a much less active role, and her spastic followers basically just chat about random stuff. She only joins in when there's something like a giveaway or a video announcement. I just so happened to join while the main chat was in the midst of a heated discussion about edging. Foreskin was mentioned. So that's great. Honestly, I don't know what I was expecting from that. At the end of the day, what are we left with? Well, after looking through the history of one of the most perplexing trolls to ever touch mainstream notoriety, I can't help but feel a bit hopeful. If Meowbug can persist through a media firestorm and extreme lambasting like this, and keep plugging away amidst accusations from literally every corner of the internet, then I can do whatever I put my mind to as well. And at the very least, in her new and improved sanitized Discord server, I haven't found any signs of child endangerment, so that bare minimum standard is at least met. Yay. On that rousing note, I leave you all. Until next time then, I've been Jormy49. What a ride, and good night.